Hello, thanks for joining us. You're tuned to the Leg Up, your weekly thoroughbred domestic preview podcast. And what do we got tomorrow, Steve? I'm kind of struggling to think where we are. Taranaki?
Saturday.
Saturday I'm talking about.
Yeah. We've got Matamata on Friday,
Yep.
Taranaki, and also Rotorua Cup Day.
Rotorua Cup Day, of course. Bowden will touch on that shortly. But we had a couple of good meetings last week, Riccarton and Te Rapa. What were the highlights there that you can run us through?
Heading up at Te Rapa, it was an unusual day in terms of the trading, the fluctuations in and out. Top brass comes to mind in terms of a decent firmer open around about that 7.5 during the week, got shaved into $3.60 and won accordingly for the customers. And Osaka flipping the other side, opened around about a $6 even favourite and went out to $14 and won like a $2 shot. So in terms of the black types, turned the ace, won the 2-year-old feature.
Paul
turned me loose for Paul Moade, the best bet.
Great battle down the straight there. Admirers of Rangitoa no worries there.
Yeah, the money came for Rangitoa too, but
certainly did.
Out-toughed it, turned the ace, didn't it?
It didn't, yeah, but I thought Rangitoa sort of headed it, and I thought, oh, we're in a bit of trouble here.
You were due, though.
Oh, shit. Hope I'm due this week as well.
Yeah, well, we'll find out about that later. Turning the ace was good, Steve. What else was there?
Fraser Rett. Stakes double down in Christchurch / Riccarton. The Champagne Stakes, unusual contest. Not often do you see a debutant in a juvenile race.
You mentioned that last week too.
Yeah, I mentioned in terms of the betting picture and profile around the galloper that there was an opportunity that this horse would drift. Around about this time last week, it was a 360, 380 shot, and it got out to $485 on the close. So that was bang on, but the result was very, very tidy, and it definitely got upside. Whether it's got too many runs as a juvenile, they'll wait to a 3-year-old campaign. And then Fraser Rett did it again in the Easter Stakes with Streak of Power. Just a horse that has a lot of toe from out of the barriers and can maintain that acceleration at the back end of a race as well. So a big day out for Fraser.
Yeah, it was. You make $1 last week, Paul?
I finished ahead. As you say, I was due.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Enjoy the Australian stuff. It wasn't bad either, the Hollandale. I mean, Melody Bell couldn't quite get the job done. She gets one more crack at it, didn't she?
Yeah, I thought the run was encouraging though. So, what is it? Doomben Cup in a week's time?
Song. Yeah, it must be,
I'll be just praying for a decent gate, right? That's the key around here.
Speaking of due, there'd be due a gate as well, Melody Bell supporters. Yeah, okay. She's 17 last time. Hopefully she can get a better spot in the Doomben Cup in around 9 days' time. Let's bring in Brendan Popwell, our expert from up in Hamilton. Morning, BP. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks, Thad. And morning to Hunty and Paul. Yeah, it was an interesting week, but what I did like about the week and a sign of what's to come was the good jumps racing that we did see out of Te Rapa. And, of course, we get the indication of those horses being back at that venue, of course, for the Waikato Hurdles and the Waikato Steeplechase. And let's just hope that we see a few more numbers for the Steeplechase. We do have a race meeting as we record upcoming out of Wanganui, where that'll be a key pointer towards those horses heading to the first of our jumps features, which we'll chat about next week on the League Up.
Yeah, I think Zentangle going around today. He's been super impressive, yeah. What about a maiden of the week, BP? What have you found for us here?
Look, I'm going to go to the Sunday race meeting out of Woodville. I thought there was some very good maiden races there. In fact, you would imagine that's a meeting we can do some good stuff with over the next few weeks. This was a very highly pushed horse. First time to the races, got it all wrong at the start, and then had to go back to the trials, was very good at the Foxton trials. I'm talking about a horse by the name of Bold Mac. Had to win from an outside gate and was still very good to win on this occasion. And the way that this horse won, and around 110 and change, that there is a little bit more in store. Sometimes I do like to look for these maiden races on what the horses are in behind. I think we can do both here. I think we can follow the winner with a little bit of confidence going through the grades over the next few weeks, and maybe some horses that were beaten in this race. Eagle County, for instance, who's finished into second spot, and Arklow into third spot. There are a couple of horses you could follow out of the race, but your Bold Mac, very well found. Massive drifter on the tote, huge drifter on the tote. Was getting back fixed odds, and then late in the last 2 minutes of betting in that race went stone cold and ended up starting second favourite and really a big drifter on the tote. But I think a horse to follow.
Yeah, lost Jonathan Parks, BP. Obviously, they knew that before the last 5 minutes of trading, but that probably had some effect. I mean, with all due respect to Sarah McNabb, who rode an excellent race there.
Yeah, and like I said beforehand, this horse was well backed and it got it wrong at the start, and you know maybe that could have been a reason for it, but Sarah McNabb got the job done from a tricky gate, was able to put the horse in the right position by finding that position just off tempo, and did the job well there, Bold Mac. So nice win on what was a big program out of Woodville on Sunday.
Yeah, Wanganui will be rolling in the cash after that win, Steve. Bold Mac. There'll be a fair bit of money trucked in from that region.
They're planning to invest on today as we speak Thursday morning for their 10-race card at Wanganui. But look, interesting, the sire, the Bold one, he was trained under the care of Alan Sharrock, their Bold one. I think he had a decent ability, and Alan would be not shy in admitting that it had decent ability as a horse, had 14 starts for 4 wins, beautifully bred by Fastnet Rock out of the Jewel, which we know won 1,000 guineas, was placed in a Queensland Oaks from memory. So it had the pedigree. The Dennis Bros obviously bred the horse, and I think they kept a share in the horse. I'm not sure if they've got a share in terms of a stallion right, but the Bold one, his oldest crop of 3-year-olds. And he's left 3 individual winners, Bold Iris being one of them. I think it's won a couple of races, and also had another winner, albeit all on the same day on Sunday at Woodville in the Fearless one. So look, he's a young sire in the CD doing his trade, and hopefully he gets the support, and already showing a little bit of support in the central districts, but also on the racetrack he's having early success.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's one to watch out for, the Bold one. Okay, team. Should we tuck into it? We've got Rotorua Cup Day up there, and we may as well kick it off. Race number 3. Craig Tom Memorial 3-year-old. For the 3-year-olds, obviously. Over the mile, Steve. How's this market shaping?
Yeah, pretty competitive affair, Thaddeus, led by Basawa at 3.9, in front of Mongolian Wings at 4.8, Bari on the quick backup at $5, Bentayga at 7, Fontaine at 8.5 shares that price of Illumination. Double figures around Queen of Sulph at $16. Capaldi impressive on the eye, albeit down at Riccarton, travels back to the north under the care of Team Rogerson at 17s. Insignia, the stablemate of Capaldi at 19, and best of the rest is Luna Perfecta at $23. So no slight or no lead at present, but Basawa heads an open race at 3.9.
Yeah, very good Basawa last time, Pops, for the Lowry Cullen team. There's a bit of winning form in this, though, and a few question marks wherever you look, and Mongolian Wings adds a bit of a few question marks to calculations. How did you see the third of the day?
Yeah, I guess it's a race where how do you line up the horses that have either won those midweek maiden races that have looked very good in doing so, compared to runners where they've just had a little bit of more exposed form, and some, especially those at the point end of the market, have got the form in stakes races. Basawa, for instance, he raced in a Group 1, was beaten in a Levin Classic throughout the summer, and does have some wet form there. And then a horse like Mongolian Wings defeated in a stakes race before being tipped out for a break, and prior to that one, a couple of really nice races. So you can understand why they are the ones that are favoured in this market, as opposed to the unknown but look to be sort of untapped horses. Runners like Insignia, for instance, I thought was very good, been winning last time to the race, has been getting up on the line. A runner like Queen of Soul, who went forward and found a really good kick and bounced out of that mega trial that we've spoken about with all those horses that were in around Super Donna, for instance. So that's the hard part around trying to work this race out, and even you can add the mixture of a heavy 10 to maybe slow 9. That makes it a bit awkward, doesn't it? So I keep coming back to Basawa because of the proven form around the son of Atlante.
Makes a good point, though, Pops, doesn't he, Paul? Just around trying to line that form up. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with a Queen of Soul out there at $16 or a Insignia. Exactly. What are you thinking? Can you smell a bit of a upset there down the page?
Yeah, I do like the look of Insignia. I haven't got it on top, but certainly in the numbers there. Yeah. I thought the win, I think it was on a slow 7, so certainly won't mind the track, I wouldn't have thought, at Rotorua this weekend. Look, I keep heading back towards the top of the market, though, and I do like the look of Mongolian Wings. I thought it comes in with a nice trial. I thought the 2 wins last prep were very, very good. And I continue to look at the Baker Forsman trained 2 and 3-year-olds around this time of the year, when the tracks are starting to turn from the summer tracks. They're not quite.
No,
they're sort of the in-between, if you get my meaning.
I do.
And look, I don't have solid numbers behind this, but anecdotally,
I couldn't have guessed that, but
I seem to be happy when I back Baker Forsman 2- and 3-year-olds around this time of the year.
I'm buying what you're selling here, I think, Steve.
So, I do like the look of Mongolian Wings.
We'll talk about Mongolian Wings because he is sort of the horse that we need to touch off, Steve, because he's fresh up into this. He's over a mile. Showed some real ability last prep, though.
He did. He was touted as one of the early Derby favourites just prior to Christmas when he was going through the grades, Mongolian Wings. He obviously has had a setback. They've had to freshen him up and start again. Just not sure what direction he's heading, whether he'll cop a really genuine heavy track, which we're going to strike on Saturday. Just on track conditions, currently a heavy 11 with showers forecasted on race day, Thursday and Friday. A little bit hit and miss, but on race day there is showers forecasted, not just in the morning but in the afternoon. So look, we've priced on an assessment that it's going to be around that heavy 10, heavy 11 conditions. But look, Mongolian Wings, I do want to go back 7 days ago. This time last week it was accepted at Te Rapa for a rating 74. I think it was rating 74 1400. It's the same distance it strikes on Saturday. And out of the stable, the word was that it might need the run, look for it when it gets to 16 to 2,000 metres. And there was no money, whether they knew it was going to be withdrawn at Te Rapa or there was no money reflecting on its chances and it may need the run. So just want to keep an eye on the trading around this horse. At the moment, I just don't want to be holding the baby around it. I'm happy to drift very, very smartly if there's no money for it out of a punting stable. And just going back on the words that we did strike out of the stable last week, that it may need the run. I don't think it can have too much fitness between now and then. So I'm feeling that it may need the run and that there might not be that hard money around this horse, but I do respect the horse. It's definitely got upside and ability.
What about Bentayga, Steve? Just quickly, Tony Pike second up into this. It's got to be respected, you'd suggest, around $7.
Yeah, very soft when it resumed at Ellerslie on the 24th of April, over 1,400 metres. Coming around the turn, you didn't want to be on any other horse. It was travelling. But yeah, like Bari got that kick, had that soft lead in front and kicked away, and it was game over around about the 250, 300 metre mark. But Bentayga ran nicely into that second position. I really would have wanted it to be 1,600. Would have been super keen on Bentayga's chances if it was 16. It stays to the 14, but again, you've got to respect the stable. They've identified that it needs another run at 1,400. Whether it's a winning turn, I'm not sure, but personally, I would have thought 1,600 second up on what I saw at Ellerslie would have been the key, but they've kept it at 7 furlongs.
Yeah, okay. It's going to be an interesting one. Bentayga to watch, and Mongolia Wings at 480 pops. Try and surmise the third for us. What have you got in terms of a top four for us?
I keep coming back to Basawa, the runner that I do like, considering what he did last season. He will get through the track conditions. We've seen that a couple of times with him where he's won twice on slow ground, and that's going to be a helpful point for him. I do like Bari. I think Bari is a horse with a wide gate and a strong rider in JKB Riddell where he can push forward. I think there's been a lot in what he's done his last couple of starts. He's a runner that I think he just with those runs under the belt puts him in a nice spot in this race. So I've got him as my second pick, Bari. 1 to beat 3. Then you've got this mixture of horses of... I thought Insignia was a good roughie. I really did think that Insignia was the roughie out of those horses that have looked good through their most recent wins. Queen of Soul won well last time to the races. There was a little question mark heading into that race about getting through those track conditions, but did a really good job, did Queen of Soul. And I know the horse has improved and gone the right way post that. But I'll go 1 to beat 3. Insignia is my roughie, the 8. And if we're looking for any other numbers into the mix, well, probably the 2 Mongolian Wings. But I'm liking the 1 and the 3.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, Bari was good. I missed the 25s, Paul. I climbed on last start at 440 where it ran third.
Yeah. I'm sure punters who did get the 25 were very, very happy that you missed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that works well.
Just with Bari,
I
I went back and watched the replay a number of times last Saturday on the quick backup, Bari, and 2 starts, or 2 weeks ago, should I mention. But barrier 1 was a negative. Jasmine tried to keep that position in terms of the leading profile around that horse, but she just got niggled by Erin Layton aboard Brian Lamont, who just came across him a wide gate, got that leading position, and she ran about the 400 metres. Brian Lamont came on the back of Bari and cost all chances when all those horses were looking to make the move and present to a winning chance. Bari was getting shuffled back along the inside there and got clear air only last 200 metres when the race was all over. So from barrier 10, Jonathan, he can dictate and control more where this horse positions and when he's able to get to the lead rather than horses surrounding him. So I think barrier 10's a positive rather than a negative, which we saw barrier 1 last start.
Yeah, okay. Barrier 10 and Rotorua on a heavy track. You've got Insignia in your numbers, Paul, somewhere as well. As pops as Ruffy, don't you?
Yep, 100%. Mongolian Wings on top,
Okay, you're taking a
Basawa,
punt.
Insignia and Bari.
Okay, taking a punt on Mongolian Wings. You'll be watching that price potentially, 480, just to see what happens.
Well, if we win here, we won't be getting the 480 next
No,
time.
that's true. You got to
Might even drift a little bit by race time Saturday.
Yeah, stepping late maybe.
Yeah,
Pop some sixes.
I guess it depends on the stable, to be fair.
Yeah. You'll be following that with interest. Okay, guys, race number 6 on the cards. The big dance, the Rotorua Cup, the Campbell Infrastructure Rotorua Cup Group 3. And, gee, this is tricky, Steve. How's this market looking on a heavy track?
Yeah, Bowden presents in that 1-1 and betting at 3.4. It's been well backed at 3.4. A lot of customers suggesting they're pretty comfortable at taking that opening line. In front of Big Mike at $6. Spring Delight 6.5. Very flash. You could almost say the defending champ, as this race was not run last year, was the 2019 winner at $7. Paisley Park at $10. Valapuamwa at $12. The Good Fight $14. I see there's a jockey now engaged with Sam Collett. Easy Milady at 17s. 100 pence 19. Best of the rest. Initiative stepping up over a staying trip for the very first time at 26. So look, if there's a slight lead, it's not a strong lead, but it is with the fave number 1 in Bowden.
Gee, if it was a dead 6, Pops, you'd be climbing over people for $3.40, I would have thought, around Bowden, but does throw a little bit of a spanner into the works, this track.
It does. I think it does for both of those two horses at the top of the book there, and the 1 and the 2. Bowden, leading into that race at Awapuni, we suggested that dead 6, cusp of a slow 7, the horse can get the job done. Well, as we know, the horse loves Awapuni anyway, and found that right strip on a slow 9 track, and then was very good last time to the races when winning out of Riccarton. But there is that question mark of this horse being on a heavy track, and to be honest with you, the same for Big Mike. If this track is at that genuine heavy 11, he has that sweet spot from a dead 4, dead 5 to around a slow 8, slow 9. So they are the two question marks. They are the two best horses in this race, and look, there's no doubting they could run the Quinella if they can just get through the ground purely on ability. So that's what you have to weigh up there with those two horses. I've still got them in my numbers because of their class element, but I'm just trying to work out how they're going to handle the track condition out of Rotorua. And then you've got Very Flash, as Stephen mentioned, a previous winner of this race, and has even won a Tamaranui Gold Cup at this venue. So he's had 3 starts here for 2 wins, both of them good Cups races. Gets the track condition that he has been finally looking for, and that is just an 11. It just wants 11 or 10, and it wants it to be as hard as it possibly can be. So maybe he has a chance on that with his low weight, even though his runs aren't on the board. But yeah, I find this really tricky. I really do, because my heart's torn with Big Mike because he can run a big race here, but I'm just worried about the track conditions.
JKB Riddell on though, Paul. Jockey change, I see. Hazel off.
Yes.
JKB on.
Yeah, look, Hazel ran a peach of a ride in the Hawke's Bay Cup. Sort of controlled the tempo and took the sprinters out of it, I guess. It was a truly run, Hawke's Bay Cup. Didn't quite get it 100% next time out.
Yep.
But I'm sure Jonathan will be able to sort of slot him in wherever he likes from the wide draw.
Yep.
Slot him in somewhere. I think just in behind the leaders, because there's a wee bit of speed in
We've
the
got
race.
Cassio, haven't we? No surprise where he's probably going to end
No,
up.
exactly. And he'd probably be able to follow Cassio across and either just one out or just in behind. And I think he'll be able to control, be able to sort of feed off the speed in the race, pull out just before the turn. I can see Big Mike actually relishing the conditions.
Sticking with it.
I really do like the look of Big Mike, and I'm I'm surprised that BP's jumped off.
I haven't jumped off, Paul. I haven't given you my selections yet. But what I will say is Bowden helps him. I mean, with Bowden with 60.5, and he has 57.5, so that means he doesn't have to claim, and he can get a good strong rider aboard. With 57.5. So we saw last time he was defeated, what did he have, 60 kilos. He was winning the Hawke's Bay Cup with 58.5, and prior to that he's been beaten with 60 kilos. He's normally, carrying that type of weight, so he will notice that little bit of luxury anyway with 57.5.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anything else down the page, Paul, on the longer odds? Because there seems to be a few chances down there. Velo Pour Moi, Paisley Park, The Good Fight, Easy Milady, any of those featuring in your numbers?
Yeah, that Voleur Pour Moi.
Yeah.
The last start second was very, very encouraging. So I also have it in me numbers. I just can't look away from Big Mike. I just think he's going to get the race to suit. And with Mr. Riddell aboard,
You're happy with 6?
I love the $6.
Okay. Yeah, tricky, Steve, to frame this market with the track, obviously. Talk us through the process the team went through here.
Well, BP's already alluded around the question marks of Bowden and Big Mike, if it's a genuine heavy track, heavy 10, heavy 11, which we believe will be the case on Saturday. So $3.40, $6 on the eye might look a little bit enticing, but again, we stress that we've priced the majority of all the races on that case where it's going to be a heavy 10, heavy 11. So you might be looking at a slight edge purely on face value, but when you're grinding down the form in the heavy tracks, there is a question mark around Bowden and Big Mike. I'm very keen on number 11, Spring Delight. I reckon she profiles well, down in the weights on the minimum of 53 kegs. You go back 2 starts ago, she carried 59 kegs and just got run over late by Moroney, who's been a subsequent group place getter in the Easter Handicap. And then 2 starts back, or last start, when she was second up this preparation, she ran a gallant 4th in the Travis Stakes at weight for age. She got beaten fair and square by Pierina, but the horses that just finished over her late in the piece were Travelling Light and Savion Blanc. So dropping back from weight for age scale, 57 kegs to 53, Spring Delight. She's had now that 1 run over ground to get her fit for another race over ground, 2,200 metres. I think she's a danger in this lightweight category. The only question mark is a genuine heavy track. She's been placed once on a heavy track, but that is a slight question mark. But I love gravitating towards these light-weighted horses in these heavy track conditions. So I'm very keen on Spring Delight. She got 2 rating points running second to Moroney. She got 0 rating points coming out of a Group 2, running 4th in a Group 2 at weight for age. So I think she's been well treated by the handicap with no ratings added to her overall profile coming out of that Group 2 weeks ago, Spring Delight. And very flash. Look, on the quick backup, I think that's a nice profile. He won this race, as we mentioned, 2 years ago on the quick backup, that 7-day backup, albeit he was in a middle of a campaign. He had already had that run over a staying journey. We're here. He presents going to 16 to 2-2. But again, I will stress he has won on that quick backup form line.
Okay, that is interesting. We saw Top Price do that last week in no uncertain terms. What about down the page a little bit, Steve? Easy Milady in this one. The Good Fight. Velo Pour Moi. Who do you want to talk about there?
Hunter Pence.
Yeah, Hunter Pence, yeah. Who's been running
Look,
bad
they're
races.
all very much of a much. They found their mark again. I stress back to Spring Delight. I think she's still yet to hit a PB where a lot of these horses have found their mark. Easy Milady's an interesting runner. Just not sure how to grasp her in terms of first time over trip 2-2. She'll handle the track conditions. She's not beautifully placed in terms of a rating of 68, where a lot of those horses around on 53 kegs have at least 5, 6, 7 or 8 rating points in front of her. Just looking back on Spring Delight has a rating of 78. Easy Milady a rating of 68. They carry the same weight on Saturday. So she's not ideally suited, Easy Milady, but she has that track form and course form. So don't want to totally knock her, but at 17s I think she's found her mark. Okay. You might get 20 plus on the day.
2 from 2 at the track, Rotorua track, Paul. Easy Milady.
Horses for courses.
You know what they say. Yeah, exactly, particularly at Rotorua. Nice racing cliche for you, BP. Top 4 time in the Rotorua Cup, please.
I'll go Big Mike, runner number 2, but
no,
purely. Now, this is a race where I've got him as my top selection, but I'm going to be treading very, very much water here with this race. I think it's a race where you can box a few up in the first 4, have a nice spread through your quaddie ticket, but I'll put him on top with the hope, with fingers crossed, that he can get through the ground. Because I think like both he and Bowden, if they can win this race. There's no doubting that, because they are the best horses in this race. There are horses in here, some of them are moving up in distance for the very first time. There's a host of horses that have got wet track form and also form on the track, but are also moving up to a higher distance than what they have in all their career, like Initiative and Easy Milady and all those type of horses, where these are just genuine stayers. So I'll put him on top with a bit of trepidation, but he owes me nothing. I think Very Flash is the one that they all have to be worried about. Runner number 11, a bona fide heavy tracker, and will love the conditions there on at the venue. Bowden, because of all the reasons around Big Mike. After that, look, I'll throw out an extreme roughie here, and it might be more for a case that his past form is so far behind him, but Peso, runner at number 4, he has drawn one. He's got 54 kilos. We know that he's a Group 1 place getter a couple of seasons ago behind Melody Bell. He's out of the right barn to get him up and ready, though, to say that he can handle a race like this out of the Nelson McDougall barn. He's probably getting ready for a jumping assignment this year, you'd imagine, with him being a 9-year-old. And as I said, his best form is behind him. But if he could just somehow find some of that best form again on a heavy surface with just the 54 kilograms, could he be a hope to really expand that first 4 out to somewhere where we've just never dared to believe? So maybe Peso can be in the mix.
Yeah, put him in the mix. He came round, Paul, in the end. Big Mike, I didn't think it was going to happen, and then Pops came round and put Big Mike on top.
I'm happy about that.
Okay.
I am. I've also got Big Mike on top.
Yep.
Yes, definitely. Spring Delight.
Yep.
Voleur pour moi.
Yes.
And then Bowden, just because of the class.
You just can't leave him out, can you? That's the problem here. Going to be an intriguing Rotorua Cup, guys. One more race we want to have a quick look at Rotorua is race number 8, the Ridges Rotorua Stakes, Steve, over the 1,400 metres. Who's favourite here?
You're headed by Supreme Heights at $2.90, off a short note 2.8. Crowning Star opened at north of $4, now trading at $3.40. So there's the decent lead around Crowning Star. Number 3, $4, $500 bets on the Benno Wynyard Galloper. Popstar Princess at 9.5. Double figures around Toro de Greco at 11. Can I Get an Amen? Sacred Option 13 each of 2. Katy Perry at 16. Sweet Clementine will relish the heavy conditions at 18. Cherry Lane also on that similar profile on around the heavy conditions at 19, and best of the rest is La Bea at 23. So decent lead here. It's around number 4, Crowning Star, the current second fave, 4.20 into 3.4.
Yeah, it's a decent push early on Crowning Star, but it's a clear top 2 in this market in the Rotorua Stakes, BP.
It is. I find it hard to get away from them, actually. Look, these are 2 horses. Crowning Star got the job done in that small field last time out for the Benno Wynyard team. And Supreme Heights has just got a very strong black type record next to her name from, sort of through that early spring period where she won races like the Taranaki Breeders and those type of races. So getting through these conditions should be no problem. Barrier draw, well, is barrier 13 going to be a good draw by the time we get to race number 8 on the program? It really depends on what happens during the day with how much rain they get, what happens with how horses are playing up against the rail, or are they starting to work away from the rail by this time of the day? You think of previous Rotorua Cup meetings, they're normally, out by ridges, so and coming right down that outside hedge. So where are they going to be? It's pretty hard to try and work that out on Thursday morning, but barrier 13 may not be a bad thing for a horse like this who can be put into the race, as we've seen with this horse, can be very positively ridden. So I like her chances. As I said, I just think her strong black type form is a good pointer towards her in the race. Crowning Star, second up off the back of a good gutsy win. And then after that, Popstar Princess is a chance, Toro del Greco. Can I Get an Amen? Maybe one of those horses in the middle market that can be entertained. The only thing with her is that she doesn't have that genuine heavy track record. She's more of a dead tracker. So that's what I keep coming back to, and hence why Supreme Heights finds my way on top with her good heavy track record.
Tricky, Paul, if you are trying to get away from the top 2 here, I would have thought.
Yeah, they're top of the market, dominated by the, and fair, rightly so.
Is it one of those fillies and mares races where these top class, mares and fillies have the dominant sort of figures and dominant ratings and end up dominating the market?
Exactly. However, Well, I haven't looked too far away from the top of the market, but I do really like the look of Popstar Princess. Look, just forget the last start. I'm on another Jonathan Riddell.
Okay,
Right here.
he's going to have a big day.
Well, I'm down with JKB. You know me. I just look back further back. I really did like that win over, what was it, the 1,200 metres at Tauranga.
Yep.
And the second behind More Wonder was full of merit. So
Yeah.
I think with JKB jumping back on, I think it improves the chances of Popstar
You
Princess.
get a decent run for your money, don't you, with Popstar Princess? You can
Exactly.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's on the mix.
around the $9-10 mark,
You know, okay, we'll
just
get-
because of the dominance of the top two in the market. So I'm willing to take a wee bit of a chance here.
Okay. 1,400 metres, Steve, for Popstar Princess, perhaps a fraction of a concern.
It is on track conditions that was going to be presented on Saturday, right?
Okay.
I think because she can operate on all track conditions, on the better side of dead, right up to heavy track conditions. So no knock there, just purely on track conditions. But her limit is right up to 7 furlongs, 1,400, and on a testing track condition, which might play more towards 15 plus. That is a big query around number 2, Popstar Princess, personally. And that's why I think a lot of punters are going to gravitate towards the top 2, because they almost look bulletproof, where there's some question marks around the second and third favourite, like Torre de Greco, rating a 94. A lot of those ratings have been built up winning races at Greymouth and Reefton. I think winning at Greymouth, an open sprint race, accumulated around about 7 or 8 rating points. And you head to the north, when we know the level of horses is a lot stronger. So I just feel that overall rating of 94, it looks okay in terms of weight for age, because it's the third highest rated galloper in the field, but just not sure it's that genuine in terms of that rating that it deserves Torre de Greco, even though it's won the 9 races, so no knock there, but a lot of its ratings has been built in the south against inferior horses. So look, Crowning Star, BP's mentioned, it's got very strong wet track form. It comes in this race second up. I'm sure it's been a race that's been profiled and mapped out by the stable. There was only 4 horses that bet at last start, but not everything worked its way in that race. It was found 3-4 wide without cover in a small field. Finally got across and sat outside the lead and was too tough at the end of the event. And you'd think natural improvement second up. The 4th horse happened to be Hartley, who's been a subsequent winner at open class level over a sprinting trip at Hastings. So even though I only bet the 3 gallopers, there's already been form stacking out of that race. So Crowning Star, the big market mover, Danielle Johnson, again with a high-profiled stable. Look, I'm not sure where it's found in the market in terms of an SP, but without doubt it's the genuine move, 420 to 3.4.
Yeah, decent strike rate from the stable as well, Steve. I think we've mentioned
Yeah, I think
that
in the
before,
last
haven't we?
50 rides they've recorded, or 50 runners they've recorded 13 wins. So look, we've mentioned the stable right from the opening whistle this season. The key about it is they've sustained those high percentages and winning strike rates. So the last 50 rides or runners, they've had around about a 26% winning strike rate. So look, normally that's where the punters will gravitate. That's where the market will dictate around these percentages, and
understandably so to some degree, you'd say.
yeah, so I think the majority of turnover will be around Supreme Heights and Crowning Star. Great opportunity for Lindsay Southerly. She's on Supreme Heights, which we know we associate this horse with Sam Collett throughout its career. But Lindsay's got a couple of key rides, one of them being Supreme Heights, but also very flash in the Cup earlier in the day.
Yeah, she's usually running for us, Lindsay, but maybe not.
Not this sad day.
No, in the very flash and Supreme Heights. What about down the page, Steve? Just a couple I want to. Sacred Option and maybe Sweet Clementine as well. What about Sacred Option?
Yeah, interesting having that 3-year-old factor. I love having these 3-year-olds up against the old horses at weight for age. Okay placed in the weights this time of the year, being a rising 4-year-old, 55 keg Sacred Option. Look, I thought it was just a little bit flat in its last 50 to 75 metres coming out of the Breeders' Stakes and behind Babylon Berlin. I just wanted it to just run through the line a little bit more, considering it's stepping from 12 to 1400, but it will handle a rain-affected going, as it showed 2 starts back when winning at Our Pony. But I just noticed there was a few horses just doing a little bit better at the last part of the furlong and through the line over the 1200 metres at Te Rapa. But Again, Tony Pike putting a 3-year-old against older horses, you've got to respect the loan, but just not sure where it's found in the market, but currently $13. And Sweet Clementine will relish the heavy track conditions. There was no money first up at Ellerslie. It was on around about a slow track condition that day, so back to a heavy track. I think that's plenty of upside around Sweet Clementine.
Okay, Pops, give us some final thoughts around the Ridges Rotorua Stakes.
Yeah, look, one horse I'd like to throw into the mixture here is number 5 and Katy Perry, and take a look who's riding the horse, Barry Reece Jones. I thought Reece Jones was retired, and now looking over his record in this season, he's had 2 rides. Has Reece Jones. I remember there was an SOS actually. They were to Ellerslie where they were short of a jockey. There was no one else that was available, so Reece Jones came to the rescue in a race at Ellerslie, and now I'm talking, this would have been a few months ago, sort of not long after lockdown anyway. So he's back. He rode this horse at the trials, did Reece Jones, and obviously still keeping his weight in a good space and still riding track work and what have you. So great to see that he's picked one up here for his old mate Jim Collett. So I'd be pretty wary of that. Reece Jones taking the ride here on Katy Perry with a little record on wet tracks. Can be a horse that is a bit of a heartbreaker at times, but can run into the money though at the same time. So I'll pop that into my third selection. I'm struggling to get away from a 1-4 combination Supreme Heights top pick in front of Crowning Star, Katy Perry, and then after that, and also another key factor in Supreme Heights did beat home Even Chance. Now, that, of course, being the half to Agon, was able to win at $30 on Saturday, just gone out of Te Rapa. So she's looked forward and ready with good form out of her trial, beating home Even Chance. So 1 on top to beat the 4, the 5, and then after that, look, Popstar Princess, if she can, she'll run a big race, as we normally see from her. So we'll pop her into the mixture as well.
Didn't just win Even Chance either, BP, did it?
No. Gee, that blew them away, didn't it? Seriously blew them away. I know that's a former James Wellwood horse, Even Chance, and has gone to Moira and Kieran Murdoch to get to the beach and just had those little niggling issues, and look, evidence straight away that it's working.
Don't think we'll get 30s next time, Paul.
Certainly not.
Top 4, please.
I've got Popstar Princess on top.
You're good, man. Stick to your guns. I like
Supreme Heights, Crowning Star, and then I've got a wee bit leery. I've gone with Lubaya down at around the $23 mark. I know probably a wee bit short, but under the conditions, and if they go a wee bit silly up front, maybe we'll be able to finish off over the top and slot in there
Quality
for a top
mare
4
on her
finish.
day, Lubaya. Steve?
Yeah, she was down to run at Te Rapa over the same trip last Saturday, and I thought they were looking to quickly back her up for this meeting to run in the Rotorua Cup, but they've obviously decided to freshen her and keep her at 14.
Okay. Race 8 at New Plymouth, guys. We want to have one look at one race down there before we go. The More FM 1400 open handicap, Steve, and how's this market shaping?
Headed by Crystallised, just a sense of timing, second up, had a trial in the interim at $2.50. Manrico at $3. Collins Street resumes for Alan Sharrock at 7.5. She has that same quote in the third line with Josui Tiger. Diogenes at $8. Rosewood $8.50 resumes. And Brother won the Ranky at $31. No strong lead, but Crystallised 2.55.
Yeah, small but select field here, BP, but again, we've got quite a clear top 2.
Yeah, key with Crystallised now is that he's had a race day run. He had a jump out before that run at Ellerslie. Now he's had a trial, which was on Tuesday, so that was out of Avondale. Gets weight relief, getting down to 59 kilos, which is going to be a massive assistance for him. So I just see him being one of those real big improvers. He's a horse we're going to talk a lot about over the winter because he's just a genuine winter sprinter, as Crystallised. So there's a few here getting the claim. You look through the racebook, you see Rosewood, who kicks off a new preparation with Hazel Schofer taking the ride, Manrico to be ridden by Eilish McCall, and we've also got Joe Camerudin, who's taking a ride in the race aboard Collins Street. So they're all key factors to the race. Even Cullum Jones aboard Diogenes, whose form looks terrible on paper, but then you look who trains the horse, and you understand that this horse can get through some wet ground, and you can entertain having him in the mix somewhere, that being Diogenes. So Crystallised, though, I just feel as though on a class point of view, and maybe with the trial and the race day runs under his belt, that he might be ready to strike.
I don't disagree. Huge trial by Crystallised Paul.
Very good trial.
Banging trial.
Where are you heading with this? Where are you heading?
Yeah, in behind and a promising type, should we say.
Beaten by only one better on the day.
Exactly.
Crystallised. No, it was a good trial, though. Well,
it
held,
was a
to
good
be fair.
trial.
I think it could probably have won it if it tried, but...
Yeah, they were just out for a run, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. But
So, yeah, they can totally understand why Crystallised is on top there. And it's definitely my top pick as well.
Okay, willing to take a little look at Rosewood's an interesting runner. I mean, we know how good Rosewood is. Start of a new campaign. Doesn't get in with a bad weight either with the claim. 60, I suppose, for her.
It's not a big horse.
No, it's
60
true.
is a big question mark for me
okay.
personally. I'm happy to take a set against her on the weekend, even though she relishes heavy track conditions. But first up, like I mentioned, she's not a big horse. In the trial, she was quite eye-catching, but Lisa Allpress was a boarder in the trial, and you're probably looking at minimum or light 50 on her back in the trial. So 60, just a slight question mark around Rosewood.
Yeah, okay. And we haven't seen a little bit of a dribble for Collins Street first. Another one first up. You'd be watching that price pretty closely, man. Barely standing.
Yeah, it's. I know in small fields, I tend to look a wee bit further down the page. I just can't take my eyes off the top two in the market. Really do like the look of Crystallised and Manrico.
He's been flying Manrico, hasn't he? He's been going great guns.
Yeah. Couple of good wins.
Yeah.
Track conditions, a slight query around Manrico, which we know Manrico last time he clashed with Crystallised was a dominant winner. But I do feel Crystallised has a lot more in his favour this time around, purely on track conditions and that extra. Well, now it's had that run under its belt and a trial in between. So, Diogenes interesting runner.
Yeah,
it is a real
yeah.
interesting runner because if you want to go away from the horses carrying 60 kegs and above, Diogenes with that 51 on his back with that claim. He could be the big upset. He could be the big upset, Diogenes.
And we'll relish the conditions, I
Absolutely.
presume.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We haven't mentioned Je Suis Tiger. Any thoughts there, Steve? Or what's the feeling?
Again, just probably doesn't have the hard figures on a heavy track, but she'll put himself in the race, drawn barrier 1, being the first 2 or 3 in running. Yeah, I don't want to knock it, but probably well found in the market, 7.5.
Yeah. Okay, BP, final thoughts. Give us a top 4 or how you're playing the Open 14.
I think with Crystallised is if you look at the paper form, and I think what Danny Walker has done here with this trial on the Tuesday is just to make sure the horse has got those right miles on the clock to be winning, because on paper form, second up, he's had 4 starts for just the 1 minor placing. So a nice trial during the week before heading towards this race day assignment. As I said, he's a runner that went to that Alizé race with a trial and a jump out. So look, he's probably in the right spot to be close to winning here, you would imagine. Crystallised, I think he's found the right race with how it shapes in terms of the field and with weight relief, wet track. So he's on top. And then I'm going to the other end of the scale where Diogenes becomes into the mix, I think, with no weight and really does relish the heavy track conditions. So I'll take 1 to beat the 6. Manrico, season's been terrific so far, just that little question mark on some really testing track conditions. What offsets that is the horse did win on a slow 9 2 starts ago at Ellerslie, as you spoke about when beating home Crystallised. So there's no reason why maybe the horse can't handle that heavy 10 there out of New Plymouth. So 1 to beat 6 and 3.
You're with Crystallised, Paul?
Crystallised,
yep.
Crystallised on top. Manrico, I do like the look of Je Suis Tiger. And then I've got Rosewood in as well. So
Rosewood's going to be interesting.
Yes.
I know, the small horse, big weight, first up. She'll probably be 3 lengths detached. I mean, I think the trial was all right, Steve Rosewood, wasn't it?
Yeah, the trial was very eye-catching. But I will stress it probably was carrying light 50 with Lisa Allpress doing the riding there.
Yeah, right.
No dead weight, obviously, in a trial. So, 60 kegs on previous campaigns has been a bit of a tough ask around Rosewood.
Yeah, she's had the tendency last prep to sort of get detached by a few lengths.
So the small field would possibly help, but just want to take a set against her in this profile in this race. She's a hard horse to place now with that rating of 89. I'm sure it was mid-90s this time last year, so it's dropped back a tad by her lack of wins in the last 12 months. But again, she's still hard to place because quite often she finds herself at the top of the weights. We've crystallised just the betting profile last up, first up, 550 SP next to her name, or his name. He was quite soft in the market, as you can remember, crystallised in our trading office. So all indications suggested he needed the run, and he was still in front with about 150 to go and then just fell in a hole. So he wasn't far off. The marketplace knew that he needed the run, so watch out second up with that trial under
I'm
the
calling it the Hartley run. A very similar run to Hartley last time. Faded late, came out and won next time. Crystallised.
Here we go.
Here we go.
There's one to mark down.
I've done the form. Righto. Best bet of the daytime, gents. We're getting the wind up here. So we better go to you, man, barely standing. Now, here we go. Turn the ace. Congratulations, sir. Back on track, trying to right the ship. Which way are you going this Saturday?
I'm going to go to the Rotorua Cup, and I'm going with Big Mike.
Oh, you champion.
I'm fairly sure he's the only Pakenham, Moe, Hawke's Bay,
Whitehall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another one to tick off this Saturday with Rotorua. Yeah. I just think if he can get, and I do think he'll get the run to suit with JKB on board. Yep. There's plenty of speed in the race, and as long as he can get through the ground, I think he can get through the ground.
Yeah. Has he ever won not leading? BP, probably a question to you. I can't remember, but has he ever won from not leading?
I would say no. I don't think he has.
Another string to his
Here we go. First time.
Because he's not going to be in that profile, right? Cassio's got that.
Yep.
So maybe just one thing to consider. But
okay. No, it's a nice bit of each way though. Sixes and
around the $6
north
mark,
of twos, obviously. Around Big Mike, you're nearly back to square.
Nearly back.
And we've been going a while, so you're not too bad. Not
and
going
BP doesn't mind him either. That really just
gives me a wee bit
more confidence.
Huge caveat. Stephen, bet of the day for you, please. We missed last week, didn't we?
We did. I'm going to go midway through the card at New Plymouth, race 5, the rating 74 mile. I'm really keen on Magdala.
Oh, Rudy.
Eye-catching first up over a distance short of its best, over 1,200 metres. I think it can bounce it out of that race. Its PB is on this track at 1,600 metres on a heavy track. And with that run under its belt, I reckon it's ready to hit its new PB, Magdala. It's a competitive race, I will stress. It's not going to be short. You got Judy Song and also Dawn Jesse, who went through the grades last preparation, but just the overall profile just ticks all the boxes, being a genuine heavy track at New Plymouth over 1,600 Magdala.
Okay, I like it, Rudy, to get the job done there for Magdala. BP, your turn. Second last Saturday. We need a bit of luck, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Sunday, rather, it was. Yeah.
Just a little bit of homework for you. The 25th of March 2017 at Tauranga, Mark Duplessis rode Big Mike in a maiden race, and I remember this race very, very vividly because it was a big tip on the day that the horse was going to get it done. Came from 6th or 7th in running and bloused them down the outside, did Big Mike. That was the one and only time that he never won on speed. So.
Okay. You can do it, Paul. You can do it.
Can do it, even though it was.
Let's do this. Let's do it, Big Mike.
4 years ago. Right. I'm going to go to Ascot Park on Sunday for my best bet, and I've found a horse here. I don't think it's going to pay much on the last run. Dunhill. I've certainly found the right training combination. That being the Tylers. On a very heavy track at Ascot Park. This horse was very good at Riverton last time to the races. The horse that won the race was a very well-backed Tyler runner who got the job done, and this horse was just weaving nicely in the last 200 metres of the race, was strong, getting through the track conditions. It's a race that looks devoid of form, so Dunhill, my best bet, race 1, number 1 at Ascot with weight relief.
Bit of a smoky there
Ascot
for
Park, BP.
Yeah,
it's got to a case with BP. Price is irrelevant. He needs a winner. It's been 7 weeks on the bounce.
Oh, gee. Here we go.
Truth in that. Well, I'll tell you what, you've got the right training combination there. The Jamie Richards of the South, Kelvin Tyler, has been absolutely flying. Good luck, BP. Small fish are sweet, don't they say? Looking forward to Saturday. What are your plans, Pops?
Yep, certainly I'll be around. Looking forward to the Rotorua Cup meeting, and then of course we've got Matamata on the Friday, so there's a bit to work through over the next couple of days with those 2 race meetings. So yeah, look, heavy track conditions. I still feel as though with wet track conditions, and I'm not a queue in the rack type of person at this time of the year. And I know a lot of punters are, and you can understand that because inconsistency with track conditions, and it makes it difficult from going from this meeting on Saturday to say a slow 8 or slow 9 back next week at Te Rapa. So that's the hard part you've got to try and work out, but that's the fun of the game, isn't it? So roll your sleeves up and let's see if we can find some winners.
Yeah, what's queue in the rack, man, barely standing? What does that mean?
Wouldn't have a clue.
Exactly. Looking forward to Saturday, Paul?
Yes, I am indeed.
Yeah.
Of course, Rotorua and New Plymouth, and the start of the Trans-Tasman Super Rugby competition, and Magic Round in the NRL. It's just there's no queue in the rack.
Plenty of promotions on offer.
Oh, we've got a few. Yeah, just head to the Punters Lounge in the tab.co.nz, and you'll find them all there. We'd have to start another show to go through them all.
Yeah, okay, well, let's not do that because we're out of time. Stephen, I promise we're going to talk about Horse of the Year at some point before our little
we're still
hiatus.
How many shows left at the end of the year? 3?
Yeah, 3
2
or
or
so.
3?
So
Yeah.
it's going to happen. Thanks for your help as always. Looking forward to Saturday. You're not going to be here, are you?
No.
I'm
no,
taking the chair on
I'm
Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. No, thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, BP. And thank you to you for joining us again on The Leg Up. We'll see you in 7 days' time.